I'm back. Greetings. So, I don't really have a topic for this episode. It's just a short, random message. I just feel it. I just feel happy for no reason. So, even though I don't necessarily have something specific to be happy about, it's just good energy, So, I just want to spread that. Sometimes I just have to remind myself that I'm an adult, or that it's a podcast and I don't necessarily like others to see that side of me. But I have that sort of, I wouldn't say kid, but very bubbly sort of, I don't know what to call it. It's like a very energetic kid-like personality. So I have that side to me, and I sometimes want to just express that, but then I realize, oops, I don't want people to really see me that way, because that's not really who I am, that's more of just that sort of deeper part of me, that innocent side of me, but on the surface, as a regular stranger or whoever you are, you're not going to necessarily see that in me as much. Someone I really love would really see that, and that's kind of the point. So, but still, it's sort of my joy making people laugh or making you feel comfortable. Even though I'm an introvert, I have all the qualities that someone that's considered extrovert would have when it comes to being around people. It's like I can, mix the two sides of these two ways that human beings label you, introvert or extrovert. I have, all their good sides, basically, but not their extreme sides. I wouldn't be too much, right, of an introvert, like too quiet, too awkward, shy, or anything like that. I don't have that. I'm very confident. And then the extrovert, right, being annoying, too loud, weird, seeking others' attention. I don't have that, So, I mean, to some degree, that's kind of due to the morality that I have, that I always try to teach you on my podcast. If you just have good character, good morality, with how you treat others, you're not going to have qualities that seem annoying. You know what I mean? Or seem sort of too weak. Because that sort of strength that you get from being close to God, or even maybe you don't necessarily have a relationship with Him, but just that sort of inner morality, just being a really good person in your heart, being filled with love, is going to help you, But obviously being too quiet is not a bad thing. We just don't want you to be too quiet in situations where you can excel in something and it requires being upfront, right? Like being a student or like that. You want to obviously engage situations where you're expressing your skills, etc. I don't know what to talk about. It's a random episode. So basically, yeah. One thing I advise. Wait a minute. What was I trying to? I'm gonna pause this and try to remember what I was trying to focus on. I don't remember, but whatever. Let's just go. Basically, I don't know how to. I have like 5 different topics in my head. Basically, just as a human being, especially if you've been taking up the advice on my podcast or even from others, the good parts of religion, such as maybe Christianity or Islam, just the good parts, right? Being positive-minded, asking God for whatever it is that you need from Him, as well as who He is, His identity, since that's outright, obviously, a point of debate or discussion between the human race. We're supposed to obviously be loving to each other. That's not something we can judge each other on, because, we can give as much evidence or as much sort of rational reasoning to a point, right? Such as how we Muslims can constantly show you all these different ways of seeing that Jesus cannot be God, etc. But at the end of the day, it's not something that we would say is perfect and enough, because you don't know. You didn't personally meet God. You didn't personally see Jesus. To some degree, it will boil down to a belief at some point. So you can't really tell people they're bad. And that's what God has taught me, The God that I worship, obviously, His name Allah is the same God that sent down the Bible in the past human civilization. Basically, it's called a Torah, but the first Torah was actually given to Prophet Moses. It's just that, prophets after him, right? Like the ones in between, and then Jesus they could still be given the same book. You know what I mean? Like that. And sometimes maybe the book's name changed. We don't know. It's one of those things that we just take what we have, but at the same time, we can't swear on it, correct? Because we weren't there. So yeah, it's one of those things that God has taught me, you know, that he's a very loving God and not the way Islam portrays him. You know, like somehow he's sort of mean and strict and sort of angry if you think he's Jesus, you know? Because it's not rational. If he allowed the devil to corrupt his scriptures, if he allows demons to possess you, if he allows demons to, you know, basically rule this world and you don't even know that. You think humans are always what's fighting, and when their demons are inspiring all our problems, you know, you don't know how much power they have until God really shows you how much power they have, like me, someone like me. Basically, it's not fair to judge people like that. You get me? Just pray for them that God shows them, you know? Because one thing that people always say, so yeah, let me not get to another topic. Yeah, it's one of those things that God is the one who can guide them. You know, we can give you as much information as we can. At least you're still on point, right? At least you're still in the religion that's closest to his true religion, which is Christianity. At least you're still there if you at least believe in a God, right? And you don't want to worship some statue. At least you passed that part, right? But, you know, it's very hard, obviously, for people. So it's just one of those things where God is going to judge them fairly. He knows their heart. You know, he knows it wasn't this sort of evil, intentional thing to walk around the earth saying Jesus is God when they don't know that's not true. And those who obviously did know, obviously they're going to get punished for that. Why are you running around with that, you know? But then, yeah, it's one of those things that then you would expect, right? Like for God to at least do something sort of supernatural or divine, right? Bring another person down like, you know, Moses, right? And sadly, the devil corrupted them, their identity into calling them priests in the Bible. You know, like some priest or preacher, which is just like the people we see in a church. They're not important. It's just a regular person. It's like a field you can study, right? You can be a priest yourself. It's so sad. These are prophets of God, you know? So if he took all the other prophets of God, right, like Moses, Abraham, if he turned them into priests and preachers and all these sort of bishops, whatever, all these sort of lower level religious people, then it's easy for him to uplift Jesus and make him seem like the cool one that's a son of God, you know? But if you study Islam and maybe you kind of try to see if it's possible that maybe what it says is true about this subject, and you think, they all seem very similar, so maybe it's possible they all were the same. And okay, I know they were all not his son, right? All of them were not his sons. So maybe it's possible that Jesus is not the son because, right, all these men are similar to him. And it's possible that if we were to estimate, you know, calling them a priest or a prophet, right, someone God chooses, they have supernatural abilities. The prophet seems better. Because a priest is just a regular person like you and I. They don't have supernatural abilities. Wait a minute. It's probably possible then they could be a prophet because it fits what Islam says a prophet can do. You know, someone really connected to God. Even angels talk to them and stuff like that. Oh, like that. You know, I just want you to think. I just want you to be open to having the free will God gave you to use your mind. We're not going to say you're going to go to hell, you know, because that's not for us to decide. Only God can guide you. And I do believe God, right? Obviously, I don't know. I don't want to say something I'm not sure of, obviously. Let me not say that. But I have always thought about it. Why does God allow the devil to confuse Christians or anybody when they ask him, oh, Lord, who are you? You know, guide me, etc. And they always tell you that Jesus came to them. You know why? You know how he did that, the devil? It's really easy. I talk a lot on my healing guides about how demons use dreams to terrorize me. And in that, right, and God making them do that, I learned how they obviously have the power to use dreams against the human race. Okay, so it's easy for me to understand how those people got tricked into thinking Jesus is their God because the devil just used a dream. God is not going to come to you in a dream. That is not logical because then the entire human race Right? All of us, the entire species could have prayed to him, and he could have all showed himself in a dream. Come on. That's easy. Why would we fight about who God is then, right? If it's that easy, you just pray to him and he shows you what he is or who he is in a dream. What? Why are we fighting every day to have like 10 religions then? Come on. That's not logical. God would guide you using your mind, using rationale, using maybe miraculous situations in your life. Maybe you say to him things like, my Lord, if you're one God, right? You don't have a child or anything like that. You're powerful. Because come on, if he had a son, the son has to be a God too, right? What are you going to be? Human? Right? Maybe you're not as cool as the Father, right? As Christianity says, but still you're God, right? Okay. So come on, if he had a son, it's possible then the son would replace him at some point, and maybe the father would die. It's just not logical. You know, what's the purpose of that one son? Why one? There's nothing wrong with thinking this way. See, Christianity, these humans who are corrupted into this will make it seem like this is sort of not healthy, right? Because that is what it means to be unhealthy. To just tell people to just believe in something and shut down all ways to then, right, try to be an advocate of two sides for this one. People call it devil's advocate, but that's evil. Let's not call something devil's advocate. No, just, right? Someone gives you a point, right, point A. There's nothing wrong with then thinking about point A and seeing if point A makes sense, right? And then people give you a point B. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it like that. There's nothing wrong with thinking, right? Because you don't know. So it's just as Christians would not like it if Muslims told you to just believe there's one God instead of maybe trying to figure that out and find him. Same way we Muslims would tell you it's not fair that Christians then try to force people to think that he just has a son and you should just leave it at that. See? Because now that's how you know they're doing the same mistake. They're also telling you to stop at that point and not keep thinking, not keep planning, not keep researching, not keep asking God, are you actually Jesus, my Lord? Or is he actually your son? Why are you stopping? You get me? Why do you just give up and go into that belief? You get me? Keep going. Okay. If he had a son, keep going. Keep the analysis going, because then you're going to get to a point where you're like, this doesn't make sense. And that's the point. That's the whole point. You know, this part, obviously, of God's identity, Islam has it, the correct version, but it's corrupted in the morality. It has all the terroristic, extremist, violent, perverted, sexist, nasty stuff. You get me? Because that's just a way for the devil to insult the prophet. He was obviously a righteous man. It's a way for him to mock that great man by accusing him of, you know, bringing down this crazy, right, terroristic, like nasty Islam that they obviously talk about. You know? And these religious preachers, since they're not the people of God, they're never gonna agree with you. It's like, imagine it, telling someone something is yellow and really is yellow, and they just keep arguing with you. Aren't they crazy or something? So unless they're actually insane, right? They're sick or something. What would you say? They're evil as hell. Okay, so whew, so that's what I'm saying. They're psychopaths. They're narcissistic. They're very evil. Because what is there to argue about? How can you justify raping a 9-year-old? How can you say a man of God would rape a little girl? How can you call that sex in marriage? How dare you? How can you then not forget the consequence that has on society? One thing I always say, that I wish the human race, I wish they would come up with this one first. Other than, right, the filth, right, the harm they're actually doing to the child. That's the first, you know, thing we would use, right, as the first act of evil. Okay, the second act, right, that's evil, that's happening, they call it pedophilia, but I don't want to call it that word because it makes it seem like some sort of sexuality, right, some sort of thing. When it's just rape, okay, goodness. Okay, the second thing I always say, right, when I used to talk to God, I would literally sit there in front of him for hours. You know, I don't look at the sky necessarily, but, you know, I'm just talking to him. You know, when I was alone and I found a private place, when I was growing up as a teenager, as a Muslim, I would just tell him all these points, you know, point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, as to why something is filthy and creepy, and something else that maybe it's not immoral but doesn't make sense, why it's not logical, you know. That's it. That's all God wanted for Muslims, but they don't want to do it. Oh my God, because they're crazy as hell. A lot of them come from that pattern. You think their religion preaches. They promote that perversion, right? There's perversion inward, right? The uncles, the brothers are looking at their own sisters. What the hell you think they're doing? If they believe in raping 9-year-old girls, they're obviously going to go after their own sisters. So there's a lot of that filth. They do a lot of rape. I'm not joking around. No one's going to tell you. They like to act like the most pure people when it comes to things like rape and violence, stuff like that. They like to always push it to Europeans. They hate Europeans so much, the evil Muslims, you know, who obviously are not from God. They don't always like to talk about others as much, like Asians, because Europeans are the ones that, right, in terms of this time in human history, because, right, other human civilizations, it was always some other group, but they always did something. It depends, right? We're a species at any given time. This race this time could have a lot of good people and lower evil, and at another time, then, you know, it's vice versa. Okay, so in this time, sadly, we just have, I would say, Africans just way on the low level in many things. Kind of because Islam ruined that. The corrupted Islam sort of ruined the, you know? And then the second reason would be, right, the racism from the evil humans, not the whole race, but the evil humans from the Europeans and others targeting their wealth and their, you know, their continent. Like that, a mixture of things. Okay, and a little bit of that culture backwardness. They don't want to give it up. That's obviously their problem. Okay, Asians have a little bit of that culture backwardness, like some Indians. Okay, that's why they're weird, right? People are scared to go to their country because it just became a rape country, right? Women cannot even feel comfortable going there. Okay, and then, okay, we have Europeans. Very nice, civilized countries, even though the crimes are, we would say, maybe similar level, right? Obviously, criminals are everywhere. But is it glorified? Is it a culture? Is it something they teach their own little kid? No, that's where they excel. You get me? It's not a culture to them. It's not normal to them. They don't like it. They go after it, right? They go after whoever tried to rape that little girl. That's what I'm saying. But see, the devil's out there, right? If you use your mind, if you use logic with me, just as I inspired you to do at the beginning of the episode, keep using your mind. Keep doing the analysis. What would you assess if you were to, right, use this sort of topic I'm talking to you about right now? What would you then think based on what I told you, right? That evil obviously is everywhere. It obviously spreads because there's enemies out there, there's devils out there. What would you assess then, right? One group is sort of doing well. That is going to enter them as well, right? At some point, they're going to also have the ones who are evil among them then start to promote the nonsense, okay? So there you go. Now they're trying to promote raping little girls, but they don't want to call it that. See? They don't want to call it that. They want to call it this name, pedophilia. They want to call it transgender rights. They're gonna give you different names because they don't have a culture. They don't have a crazy religion that promotes this stuff. So the devil has to come up with something else, right? Like political something. They have to use other ways to promote the same immoralities of going after children, hurting your own honor, your own greatness that God gave you, which is your gender, and killing yourself, basically killing your body, killing your gender by becoming something else that you're not. I mean, what's the point of changing it? Is that who you are? No, you are whatever you were created as by God Almighty. God have mercy. So, right, just as people don't believe that if someone was African, if they say, I don't feel like an African, I think I'm European, I'm going to change my skin color. Yay! Not one person who accepts and promotes LGBT nonsense is ever gonna then be like, I agree and I support your human rights. Never. They're gonna be like, get out of my face. You're African. You're not my race. Or you're not what. That's what I'm saying. It's whatever the devil wants. Crazy humans come out to support it. But if we use our mind as human beings, we're all gonna laugh at that nonsense. We know that's not true. So do you see what I'm saying? Just as people cannot say they are not the race they're born as, why do you believe something far more important and difficult and very much more connected to your identity, such as a gender, right? Think about it. Your organs, your body. You can't, oh my God. Unless you're a God, you can't do that. But a race, maybe God allows you to find some fruit, right, in nature that can maybe get rid of the sort of color that you are. And just like a pigmented person, I get pigmented all the time by the sun. You know, when I was in Africa, I still don't understand how this makes any sense. Obviously, Africa's hot as hell, right? Obviously, was there for a few years as a kid. My skin was it wasn't yellow. It wasn't brown. I was born and created by God Almighty with light beige. Not just beige, right? Because it seems sort of like orangey, right? Like a lot of people try to tan today. No, light beige. So you could actually think I'm European unless you actually saw my face, you get me? Because I obviously don't have their features. But if you just saw my skin color, then you would think I'm actually European. You get me? It's not the same as a Asian person. It's kind of more on the yellow side, right? Or brown side. So you know at least it's not European. You get my point. Okay, but I'm obviously African. So, what up? Goodness. Sorry, there's noises around me. So basically, forgot what I was trying to say. It's annoying vehicles get on my nerves. So basically, right? You get me? Something like that. That the environment can change. Where in Africa, I didn't have that problem where I get pigmented. Why? Ever since I came to the United States, I keep getting pigmented. You know what I'm saying? I have to keep caring for myself. But to be honest with you, 95% of the reason is actually because of witchcraft. Witchcraft was done to me, you know, by these demons who obviously follow me. I tell you that in my podcast, right? I have demons that persecute me just like a prophet, even though I'm not a prophet. Because of things like this, I came to expose religion, you know. God allowed the devil to do witchcraft to me as a child. And something else, which was called the evil eye. It's like a human who's really evil, filled with a lot of envy and hatred. They just stare at you. Usually when you're a kid, it just seems like an envious thing. You get me? But their eyes look like a, you know, predator-like thing. You know, like when they want to attack people, like kill someone or whatever. It seems sort of like that kind of horrible look. Okay, but it's different. It's more spiritual, you know? They're not going to attack people or anything. You're just going to have problems in your life. You get me? Because that human was actually possessed by demons, and their demons got their permission to use their body to actually do witchcraft. Not witchcraft, sorry, evil eye. Just like witchcraft. It's like a magic. It's like a power. But without, you get me? Without saying or doing anything. It's more like just with the eye. Woo! Be careful of that. If you ever see someone staring at you like that, say something to them. Sort of snap them out of it. You know, look back at them and move your face or something. Don't let them stare. You get me? Don't let them get away with that. But obviously, you know, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just seek refuge in God. My Lord, protect me from the evil of that human and all the darkness and demons with them. Like that. Say something cool like that. That usually Christians and Muslims say. And as Muslims, we say, which is like, I seek refuge in God Almighty. Okay. Like that. Obviously, have faith in God, but you know, do what you gotta do sometimes, right? God didn't tell you not to do physical things like trying to get them out of that stare, right? That glare. So it's specific, you know, it's not envy, okay? It's a different thing. So for that reason, when I was like 5 years old, I remember it. That's how you know it was an evil eye. And not, how do you remember how many humans stared at you randomly? You don't remember that. I don't either. But I remember this one. I was literally like 5. It's very hard to remember things when you're 5, right? I remember I was in that evil family, their home. In Africa, they don't have this problem that Europeans have. There's always something good that every race has that we can learn from. So Africa still sort of has that basic human beginning of civilization, the basic sort of survival qualities that we all human beings should have today, which is housing. Everyone has a home. You don't rent, you don't mortgage. That nonsense is not there. Your home actually belongs to you. Isn't that cool? And maybe your family can pass it on to you if they die, like that. And you can build one and it's cheap like that. But guess what? Same thing. I told you the devil's out there, right? Every good quality any group has, he wants to steal it. Now Africa's having all these people go back home and do real estate and build all these houses and all these rentals and hotels. And you're thinking that, right? That's a good thing. That's what you're thinking. No, they're producing and, you know, introducing the horrible parts of these civilized countries like Europeans and Asians, which we're all gonna just work every day and still live paycheck to paycheck, right? If you lose that job, okay, you're homeless, like that, because the housing is always taking all your money and you can never own it. You can't seem to save enough to buy one. And even if you buy one, you still don't own it. Correct? They don't believe. Ooh, I can't speak. I became a cartoon. They don't believe, obviously. They don't believe, right, that you can actually literally own it, right? Like a dress you bought, correct? They don't believe you can do that with a car either. These are not God's values. We have the right and we're supposed to own things like vehicles and homes, just like a food that you bought. Goodness. Who the hell is going to follow you with insurance for a dress you bought or a shirt you bought, right? That's what I'm saying. That's from the devil, this insurance nonsense. Because you can't own anything that you're not supposed to, right, have to deal with people harassing you with and just stealing more money. See, that's not something Africans would do, though. You get me? They have the basic human qualities that we all as a species had at our beginning. That's the good parts about Africans right now, like that. Okay, but they're poor as hell because the devil keeps attacking them. And that's probably why they're poor as hell, because he's thinking, oh, I can't use them to make people suffer with their jobs and housing, you know, like Europeans, right? You have to live paycheck to paycheck. If your home belonged to you, if you could build one for $5,000, think about it. Exactly, no one would work because literally 90-something% of our job, of our salary is just to pay rent. Do you agree? Or housing or whatever, or mortgage. The rest is not a big deal. Food is really, you can just, right? It's up to you how you want to eat, and maybe $100 a month is something you can manage like that, unless some people have large families. But that's obviously, you shouldn't limit yourself when it comes to things like food. You don't want to be that sort of creepy way of small hand. Everything you do is so frugal. That's not obviously God's values either. Be abundant with what you give people, right? Like food, like your family. Okay, I mean, you get me? There's really not much. It's just a couple of $100s, right? With the dresses we buy. I'm sorry, the clothes we buy. I have to think about men. Goodness, I keep saying dress because I'm thinking about myself. I'm a woman, right? The clothes we buy, the food, stuff like that is very simple. It's not a lot of money. You can literally maybe just sell something weekly, right? And your neighbors, whatever money you save, that's good to go. Humans used to sell to each other all the time. Everyone was an entrepreneur, right? Okay. So, right, all these corporations, all these things are wonderful, but there's always a downside. The downside has to be addressed, which is give people their right to own what they want. Work for themselves. They don't want it. Goodness, the devil's thinking, well, I can't do workplace bullying. I can't do workplace harassment with perverted conduct, right? Where obviously humans, right, regardless of gender, males just don't talk about it. I always deal with some pervert trying to touch them, that creepy weirdo at that job always, or weird female, like that, things like that. Demons obviously are the ones behind that, and they want to do that to your, oh my goodness, I can't speak today. They want to do that to human beings, obviously, to ruin their lives, and then use that to control them, the loss of their job, to then make them stay, you get me, and never speak up. They want to teach you to always not have the values of integrity, right? Speaking up, upholding justice, right? Acting like the victim you are if you've ever had someone do evil to you like that. They just want you to shut up because of fear of losing money, right? Fear of losing the apartment you rent. So it's things like that Africa would not have. You get me? Everyone just works for themselves. If there's companies where it's more comfortable to speak up and report them, and everyone's like, okay, we're done. Like that. It's more sort of authentic. You get me? All of us have authenticity, right? And every day you have a certain level of that. A lot of people are very unauthentic, right? They fake and just try to act sort of chameleon with everybody, or you're not. You try to act more like yourself. Like that authenticity part of a human being, Africans have that a lot. I'm talking about the ones in Africa, not the ones here, because the ones here are very different, very strange, very weird. They usually bring their bad qualities here. That's why people don't like them as much. There's just always, right, that group, obviously, among them that's good people, regardless of their religion or whatever. They just don't practice the bad stuff. Okay, but come on, we all know Africans have a lot of weird backwardness, just like Asians and Indians and all those groups are known for. But the poverty makes Africans sort of stand out, right? As if there's something wrong with them or something. They didn't evolve. Because the devil can't be greedy. If he leaves them alone and they really build their country up, then he's thinking it doesn't benefit him. And you might be like, who's he? He's not here. The bad people, that's the devil. Get it? All the bad humans in this world are him because they possess them. Demons possess these people. So he's thinking about himself. You get me? These demons are thinking about themselves. They can't go gambling and doing all this nonsense and steal from you as a landlord, right? When they have this real estate business and like that, they're just thinking there's no way to get away with it. If these people have that basic human value as a species that they always want to uphold, you want to always own your home, right? You want to usually work for yourself. If there's a corporation, then it's still going to be freedom. It is not going to take away, right, the ability for entrepreneurs to arise. But here, everyone is stuck in this 9-to-5 corporate life, correct? because the government is scared if people just go and do their thing, then who's going to work? Nobody. So they're thinking, oh, then we can't control them. Then we can't control them is what they're thinking. You know what I mean? Because you don't need them. You know, if they make laws, you're like, get out of my face. Because they know you don't need anything from them as a government. You know, you're sort of self-sufficient. Because they control you with housing. You might think they control you with jobs. No, that's just the way to control you with housing. That's just the sort of the means. I'm sorry, whatever, I always forget how to say that. That's just sort of like the path to get to what they want, right? They want to control you. Okay, how can you control a human? You take away their survival or basic necessity, their needs. Okay, how can you do that? Usually food is abundant. People share food, right? It's not a big deal. You can just go to nonprofits, right? You can grow your own food. They're thinking, all these things are sort of easy, right? To find a solution. They're thinking, oh, the house. That's the most important thing in the world. If you don't have a place to live and sleep, obviously that affects your health, right? Mentally and physically. It affects your energetic level as a human being, how energetic you are to go out and live this life. You probably want to commit suicide or go crazy or whatever. It just makes you very miserable and depressed, right? They know that. So everyone, right, is always at a job they don't like or a job they didn't necessarily want just to what? Survive, right? Just to not be in the street. Okay, and that's how they control you. You're not going to go and fulfill your passions. You're all going to just pick a random career in school. A lot of the careers in school are not even part of what humans desire, what they want. You know, it might seem that way because, right, they sort of picked almost every field that you could be an entrepreneur or anything you could do to make money. It seems like they picked all those fields and turned it into majors or careers, right? But some of them are missing, obviously, that humans usually like to venture into, right? Some are missing, obviously. And either way, you get my point. It's always working for somebody. You can't just build a little shop and sell what you're good at. Cook something you're really good at, and your neighbors just make you wealthy. You don't even have to expand. You know, like that sort of just ability to just do what you want. Because you have a home, you don't have to force yourself into. Okay, you get the point. Oh my God, I went into so many subjects. Okay, let's go back. So basically, right, this is how the devil, right, is controlling people in every race. This is how he ruins their morality and their sort of economic life. So he's obviously going after Europeans right now, who usually had a lot of the good parts of Christianity, right? The bad parts are like how they obviously want to get rid of abortion, which is actually a human right for females. But, right, the corrupted parts of the Bible, which, right, used to be God's book, is going to say it's bad to do so. Okay, but Islam says, no, it's not. It's her right, etc. It gives you logical reasons. Duh. Sickness, disease. She's going to die if she obviously has a kid or whatever, or the kid is going to be born deficient or with a disability. Why should anyone be forced to take care of a child that doesn't look like a human, that is going to basically make you want to kill yourself because it's not a person? They're crying all day because they're not healthy. They're so sick. I don't mean someone with a sickness. I mean like they're just so deformed. You get me? They don't even look like a person. There you go. The devil is obviously going to use God always as the problem. The God created them. So why should you kill them? He's like a little whiny kid. Shut up. God creates evil and good. He creates disease. He creates problems. He never said you're not supposed to admit that those things are bad. What the hell? Last time I checked, he creates problems and then gives us solutions. What the hell? The solution is she can abort those types of children. That's not someone she should, look at my words. She should not be forced. You see? Because I'm not saying the female wanted it. That's her choice. I'm saying when society is thinking they're God or whatever, they own her body. She cannot be forced to look after someone that is not normal to look after. That is going to burden her to a point where she cannot live her life. Because we have kids as a form of blessing, right? They're obviously human beings. It's like a friend. It's like you're adding friends to your home. But obviously they're not your friends, they're your kids. It's like you're just adding, right, your friends. It's like you're adding some sort of good relationship to your life. Not bad, correct? Last time I checked. You're not calling for some abusive lunatic to be born to you. Okay, some people just go over there and become evil. That's their choice. But when we're having kids, what is our reason? We're looking for happiness. Okay, so you cannot mock God. If something else comes out that does not provide happiness, the kid is so disabled, so sick. I don't mean like their leg, I mean like I mean, that's disability too, but usually people don't care about things like that. What they're really talking about and what I'm really talking about, right? The extreme versions that they just call disability. I don't know why they call it disability. We can call it something else, but you get me. They mean the sort of other parts of disability, not necessarily physical. In terms of like injury or whatever, like something happened to you. You know, this disability that you're born into, like you just are deformed. Maybe I can't come up with examples right now. You get me? Their body is not normal. They have qualities where they're gonna basically make you cut your hair off. You get me? I mean, pull your hair out because 24/7 it's in pain or it's crying, or it's not like you and I, you know. Thanks to God, right? It's a blessing that they're just born like a normal human, and one day they're independent and don't need you. No, God is not forcing women to have those types of children or that husband, right? That father. He's not forcing the father or the mother to raise them. They can abort it if they want, because that's not an actual child. Get it? So just because God created them, they want to always connect that. I'm talking about the devil. He wants to always connect that to them somehow. That's a good thing. What the hell? Remember what I told you. Keep the analysis going. When someone says something is good or bad, even when I tell you something is bad or good, keep the analysis going. You're going to fail when it comes to what I tell you, obviously, because what I'm saying is moral. You're going to at some point stop and agree with me, unless you're evil. You just want to lie. But it's not logical, because a female is a human being. So that's why I said it's a human right. I didn't say it's a female right. I said human, because she's a human first. Then she's a female. You're a human first. Then you're a male. So we have human rights. There are things that is just about our humanity. We don't deserve to suffer like that. You already went through hell having that kid. You already went through 9 months of suffering that a man doesn't have to go through. You have to think of things like that when you judge God. What kind of God must he be? Think about how women go through things men don't have to go through. So in his mind, he's not going to think, oh, I'm going to make it even more painful for you to be a woman. That you want to kill yourself or hurt yourself or hate yourself. No, no, no. Okay? He already made his life difficult for women. He's not going to make it worse, because that's a balance. This life is difficulty, it's suffering, it's a test, it's a trial. Okay, but there's a balance. The moment something is so extreme and people want to call it a test, I just raise it. What's the big deal? It's just life. That's too much. That's a balance. That's a kid you don't have to have. If people want to have it, that's their choice. What the heck? This is how you know my view is from God. Because I'm not taking away your rights to do what you want. You get me? I'm just telling you, you cannot take other people's rights who don't want to do something that's bad or difficult or unhealthy for them. Because you want to bring down some corrupted Bible into the world and be like, it's a kid, so we can't kill it. It's not. I already talked about abortion in other episodes. I'm not wasting my time on this. You're taking away her human rights. She's a human. She's the first one you have to think of first. If it takes away her rights, then it doesn't matter what this human or whatever you want to call it. It's not human until it's born, but it doesn't have any rights. Get it? She has rights because she's actually the person right now. She's actually the human. She's the one living right now. So that's how Islam then comes to save her at that moment. It calls her the human. And the devil's not dumb. He's thinking, oh, okay. And there's just all these crazy vehicles making sounds. He obviously uses the argument in a reverse. He calls a sperm a baby. He calls, all the levels of production, right? All the levels of growth, right? That human is going through before they become human, right? Or the sperm is going through, whatever. He calls all those stages a human. No, it's just, we have to respect it. That's why we call it human. It's just respect. If you're pregnant, no one's gonna say to you, "Is that a sperm?" They're gonna call that a baby. I get it, but when we're talking about the biological part, it's not a human until it's born. It's not a baby. You cannot give it rights that this human who's living, and you take away their rights. You see, you have to be fair. You have to be balanced. God have mercy. When they're born, then you're not obviously going to need to kill it. That's not logical. Now we would call that murder. What the hell? But you get me? It's not God's nature to do something to a woman that if it was done to you as a man, you would find that so disgusting, so dishonorable. Okay, so you can't say God did that to her. If some weirdo male raped you and he put some filth into your body, which is then the other reason abortion needs to be done. It's not a human, it's filth. Okay, look at my word. Filth. Not even a sperm, it's filth. It's his filthy liquid. Nasty bastard needs to be chopped off into pieces and go to the death penalty. That's filth. Goodness. It's like he put a bomb in your house. Who cares if you open the bag and there's food in it? Are you gonna treat it the same way? God have mercy. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't matter what the hell it is. But this is actually filthy. I don't have to explain what the hell rape is to you. I don't think this podcast, I'm talking to 3-year-olds, so goodbye. Okay, so this filthy bastard, the filth he put in people, he might do it to males. Okay, but they don't have that problem, right? Of something filthy coming out of them. For that reason, if, keyword, if you had to go through that, you would never, since you usually the male are the ones in government anyway and in society, you would never make rules saying, well, this statement in the Bible is from God. No, you would shut it down. You'd be like, hell no, this is disgusting. It would kill our masculinity. It would kill our humanity. It would kill this, blah, blah, blah. It would kill my rights. I'm human. What kind of God? Okay, yes, you're right. You're right. It's not from God then. It's from the devil. You would think like that, in that pattern. Never would we have a problem if this could happen to males. These evil ones, obviously good males are normal. The evil ones would shut up. It doesn't happen to them, so they feel confident to mock people, okay, who are in this gender, sadly. So for that reason, that's really the only reason. And then you're like, well, what about the females who support it? Taking away women's rights to abortion who are in these important situations where they need it. That's it. Those filthy, weird males, what kind of female would marry them? No, I swear to God. Please think about the question. A male who's this evil and sexist and hates women this much, that's something he could never allow for himself, right? He calls it good when it happens to others, but he would call God an evil lunatic if God did that to him, and he would believe that God gave him the right to get that filth out of his body, no matter what the stage it is growing into something. He would never call that a baby. He would never call it his thing, right? He would never say it's mine. It's one of those moments where I just laugh, out of anger and rage inside when they act like it's her child. How dare you call it her child? He put filth in her body by force. It's from his body. It doesn't belong to her like someone comes to your house and throws something in your house. God have mercy. It's an intruder, but it's intruding the body. I don't care what they put in there. What if they put a gold diamond in there? How dare you harm a human like that? It's worse than murder. I'm tired of the filthy creation. Hey, that type of filthy male who's not a normal human because he has no empathy, no humanity, no morality, no purity, no compassion. He can't put himself in the shoes of that female, such as his daughter, etc. He can't see if it was done to him, right? He can't visualize some creepy old male attacking him who's a pervert and destroying his honor, destroying his humanity. He can't visualize it like that. That's how moral people like we make a decision. We visualize the situation. We visualize an enemy attacking your body like an object and forcing something filthy into it and then laughing at you and saying, that's your responsibility. It belongs to you. If you get rid of it, the God Almighty who observed me do this to you is actually on my side. He thinks you're going to go to hell. You're the sinner if you get rid of that filth. See, you're not visualizing it like someone like me who thinks righteously. God is watching the rapist. What the hell is wrong with you, stupid human race? God is watching it. Do you know how much hatred and anger he has towards that lunatic? How much wrath? God just doesn't express his wrath. That's what hellfire is for. That's what the hereafter is for. That's what the judgment is for in the next life. Okay, the amount of wrath he's feeling. He just created evil. He doesn't like it. The amount of wrath he's feeling towards you. How dare you do that to a human being? That's it. Whose side is he on? The victim. By any means necessary, he tells them to do what they need to do to take back what was stolen from them, their humanity, as much close to how their life used to be as possible, which is getting rid of this filthy thing. You're not going to take away her health. Because obviously this thing, when it grows, I'm not going to call it pregnancy. This filthy thing, when it grows, what does it do to the person's body? It takes away their health. What if she dies? So a stranger has the right to come and attack your body, forcefully put something filthy into it. It doesn't matter if it's filthy, but forcefully put something into it. And now you have the responsibility to take care of it, like some nice little, cat that you adopted somewhere that you love. And you could die from it. And you're supposed to be okay with that? He has the right to put you in that situation? What would the evil governments who promote getting rid of abortion, what do they usually say? No, we don't promote what he did. We think it's bad. We just think she should. Here we go again. That's not what you mean. You're just lying. That's not what they mean. If you don't think he had the right to put that in that human, then it does not have the right to remain in that human. Take it out. Have a nice day. Goodbye. I think our discussion is over. It's just there's nothing to argue about when it comes to morality. We have rights. No one has the right to come and harm you, take anything from you, steal anything from you. You going around abusing people, attacking people, killing people, raping people. It's you who has no rights to live in this life. You should be given the death penalty according to that high-level crime you did to people. Anything that would objectify the body. Okay, but a lower level, you stole something. Well, get incarcerated or whatever. We find lower punishments for you. The hell? We have to be fair with punishment. Someone could lie about you and we could just fire them from a job. And someone could lie about you and we might have to give them 20 years in jail because what they said about you was so dangerous to your life, your liberty, that maybe you could have lost 20 years of your life. We cannot call, therefore, every crime of lying about somebody the same punishment. We can't give it the same punishment. We have to look at what it would have done to that person. You accuse a man of raping people. Do you know how filthy that crime is? Do you know how evil you must be to rape a human being? You accuse a good man of doing that to people. Well, then you should be punished the way he would have been punished. You should be given the death penalty. How dare you try to take away his life? See, you guys are seeing the act of accusation. You think accusation is just a verbal thing. So, let's just put them in jail. You don't see what the actual human was wanting to do to them. They wanted this person to be killed. So, are they not a murderer? So then give them death as a penalty when obviously there's evidence. That is what justice would be. But if they lied about somebody by simply saying they were here Wednesday when they were there Thursday, well, I don't see what the death penalty is for here. They don't need that. So we have to be fair with punishment. We have to look at what your actions could have done to somebody as a way to figure out how many years in jail you deserve, or if you deserve death, etc. God have mercy. But you have to be careful with this, obviously. Because someone could be like, well, that is so detrimental to that person. Let's give them the death penalty. Don't obviously take my words and run with it. Something can be very detrimental, but that doesn't mean you deserve death penalty. But that's what I'm saying. Very soon, God is going to bring down the truth to help humans with this. I'm just trying to share the wisdom as much as I can. It's not going to be detailed because I don't have the time and energy to do it. So God does not like the rapist. He doesn't care about him. He doesn't think that filthy thing he put in people's, but he doesn't think that's a human in that sense of like you and I, how we were obviously human, and he doesn't give them the same rights. He doesn't care about them. He doesn't think they have the right to come here and live. No, he doesn't. God sees that as the rapist abusing the system God created. Do you agree? It's a system. He abused the system. Right? He knows a living being can be formed if he does that to people. So he's abusing the system God created. A loving relationship between a husband and wife. Obviously, people can date, right? It's just sinful, but right? A man and a woman who are not related, who are healthy age group, who actually love each other. The way they come together and love and beautiful children are born, he's abusing the system. That's when it's a human. That's when it has the right to come down into this earth He observes that and thinks, that strange female over there. What if he attacks her, harms her, destroys her? Now she can never have sex, she can never get married, she can never enjoy having children. He wants to destroy her. So you have to observe what the rapist is doing to the person and not just the act itself. What did it do? He took away her right to sex. He took away her right to marriage. He took away her right to children. And I just told you that filthy thing that's forming from his filthy body, forming in that innocent person where it doesn't belong, obviously you can get her to now lose her life. How dare you say that a God is observing an innocent female walking around? Some enemy attacks her, pulls her to the ground and destroys her. And he thinks that filthy thing, she should carry it. Whatever came to ruin her life, she's going to now have to carry it? I dare you to mock God with me. You can't argue with me. The amount of intellect I have is not from humans. It's from God himself directly giving me wisdom beyond your understanding. So I know how to shut you down. Anyways, I shouldn't have talked about this topic. Now I'm pissed off. I thought I was happy in the beginning of this episode. But it's okay. I'm trying to give you wisdom. I don't always want to talk to you from a calm place. It's good to see how I feel when I'm usually just being my human self. Sick and tired of this. Sick and tired of a human species that just doesn't want to shut up and stop fighting and arguing with lunatics and actually just think. And see, whoever promotes these things as laws in countries, everyday changing good laws that were in place, what kind of humans must they be? They hate their wives, they hate their daughters, they hate God. So yeah, as I was saying, what female would want to be with a male like that, who takes away her rights like that, who hates her so much that he would choose the rapist over her? Exactly. What female would want to be with him? A human who's not a female. She's a demon. She's possessed as hell to a point that her demons are there and she's gone. She's evil as hell herself. She personally believes in that. Right? That nonsense they obviously tell rape victims who are female or even male, right? Just for her, that filth part forming in her body is obviously the difference. Whatever, right? The evil human is trying to say to the victim, right, to hurt them. This is your fault, your responsibility. God believes you should do this. It's your child. It belongs to you. It's a normal kid. How dare you call it not a child? Oh, you don't know the pain. Since I'm a woman, I can think about it. It's so painful. There is no God, even a fake God, who would do this to women. Only a devil could. Okay, so for that reason, the worst of the human race that are female go to these males as wives or girlfriends. Their daughters, if they support them, they're the worst of the females again. A normal female is not with them. Goodness. So those are the ones then they abuse, they rape, they kill, they do whatever they want to. They threaten. You already know. A lot of the relationships, whatever they call relationships in this world, females are being abused, but they walk outside every day, shopping and eating and going to work, and you don't know she's being abused at home. So please, let's not go there. You and I know. And people who abuse don't say anything as usually. They're evil as hell. They don't hate evil the way I do, like a righteous person, that they would stand up against it. It's nothing to them. They don't mind being abused. Whew. That's why usually females abuse children. It's not always the male. Because the male abused her, she abuses the kid. Obviously, that's why people who allow themselves to be abused, right? In this conscious way, we have to be careful. Some are trying to get out of the situation. Maybe they're being covert. They're not allowing it. But those who allow it, right? Even if you try to help them, there's law enforcement in her house and she's just going to be like, everything's fine. That's a lunatic. What the hell is that male going to do that moment if she tells that cop, yeah, he just beat me? What is he going to do? Try to shoot cops? What are you going to do? These people have guns. It's pathetic. Okay, that's a really psycho human. Okay, that's a demon. So it's like no one wants to talk about the evil females. They always want to talk about the evil males. We have to talk about the evil females. It's just uncomfortable, right? Because they're going against themselves, right? Males usually work together. I told you already, if you've been listening to my podcast, it's because the devil is male. He attacks the females more than, duh. Okay, so these are not females, okay? These are not humans. These are demons. They're horrible. terrible, psychopathic, nonsensical creatures. Okay? They hate everything. They hate everything about your rights as a creation. The love God, always wanted us to live in. So for that reason, she's going to protect her abuser. Just like many males who are lunatics like this type of female also protect their abusers. They become homosexuals for that reason. Instead of standing against it, talking about it, they actually grow up and become predators themselves and go after little boys. And God have mercy. We just have evil humans, okay? If you believe in demons, then why is it hard to believe in humans who are like that, right? Who are just as evil as them. They exist. And they're going to obviously want to enforce that. Their filth into good people, their lives, and scare the hell out of you that you're going to lose your rights, and they're going to go into your government. Duh, because they don't believe evil should only impact them. They believe everyone should suffer. Obviously, righteous people, good people, healthy, smart human beings, you're not going to make them suffer. They're going to always, find a way to protect themselves, even if the country took away rights, and if you maybe go about it, you're going to go to jail or whatever. They don't care. They're smart. They honor themselves, right? They're going to do what they got to do. Females obviously go and still do the abortion to themselves. You get me? Even though you need a third party to do it for you. They do what they got to do. They're pushing her to go and endanger herself by doing it to herself. How dare you? Something that is so filthy and so evil that some humans are going to go and endanger their lives just to get it out of their body. It doesn't belong there. It's an invader. It's an enemy. How dare you take away her right to just do it safely? And you want to call that from God. Because anything that's from God cannot take away your happiness. That's the thing about God. He cannot ask you to do something that hurts you. He can only make us go through suffering like hunger. Okay, but is that going to take away your happiness? Look at the words I'm using. I didn't say, are you not going to feel hunger? Or, like some sort of stomach pain. No, is that going to take away your greatness as a human being? Do you sort of get diminished to an object if God doesn't let you eat today? No, it has nothing to do with him objectifying you. Tomorrow you're going to eat, correct? It doesn't affect you, basically. But this affects the person, yes or no? It destroys their whole life, yes or no? God has no business with that nonsense. Goodbye. That's how you talk about morality. You have to assess the way it affects people to actually understand what their rights are. How dare you? And how filthy something is. Before I lose. Okay, this is becoming an hour. So yeah. Obviously, the devil hates prophets because they always came to stand up for women's rights. They speak just like me. Obviously, the devil hated these men that God created, very righteous. And nothing like the average male here who's very easily corrupted to becoming sexist and crazy. Just sit down with him a couple of weeks or a month to tell him bad things about women. He starts to become just like that. It's so sad. There's only a few males who you can't corrupt them. I wish I could meet them. Like, where are you? Can I please find you? Where are you? Where are these good men that God created? That we can all work together, right? And the good, strong women that God, where are you guys? We can work together, But inshallah, when I start helping human beings, whichever way that is that God wants me to do, I will find those people because God will actually help me find them. I'm not going to work with average people. What the hell? Those are people we want to uplift and teach them morality, something they innately and right in their conscious know, but they don't want to act on, right? Those are the people we came to help in that sense. But those who, are similar to my thinking, they just don't have as much knowledge as I have. Okay, that's my team. You get me? They're like my actual team. So, yeah, what should I go back to? What was I talking about? I was talking about so many things. So, yeah, it is her human right because she's a human. And all these horrible things are happening to her. All these consequences. She can never, feel pure, and clean as a human being, obviously. Someone violated her. That's what God is thinking about too. Get it? That's what he's also thinking about. That man she was supposed to marry a few months or years later, he knows now what the damage is between them. It's over, okay? She obviously can force herself to just go, right, and live, but that doesn't mean everything's fine. God, don't dishonor human beings. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, we need to assess, just like the Jesus part. That's more about ignorance. We don't know. You're not a bad person if you believe he's God. So that the solution is to ask God and never to believe in dreams and stuff, because dreams can also come from the devil. So you have to wait and ask God for more obvious ways. Obviously, he knows how to guide you, but you have to give him time. Correct? Do you actually believe a God who doesn't like to show himself, right? He's invisible to us. He doesn't like to do big, miraculous things, right? The sky doesn't just split up randomly for you if you just pray. You get me? He's a God that sort of doesn't do that stuff, correct? Unless maybe prophets are here like that. Come on. Obviously, if you pray to him, that he shows you which God he is, that he's obviously not going to be boom and blah, right? It's not going to just come and split the ocean all of a sudden. Give time. You have to wait. He's going to do what I have. If you're listening to me, you're probably thinking this person has a lot of knowledge and intellect and wisdom. Okay, like that. He's going to give you a lot of wisdom. Wisdom just means understanding, right? He's just going to give you a lot of understanding, a lot of wisdom, a lot of intellect into a subject like religion or life overall. And then it's going to help you have a broad understanding of other areas of life. Just like I connected many things. And at the beginning, I was just talking about Jesus. I connected it to morality and day-to-day situations that morality is being impacted, like abortion. Okay, like that. You're going to have a broad understanding. You're going to be like, wait a minute. You're going to think. Now you know your God is a king of rationale. You know he's an intelligent God. He's very wise, and he's not a shut up, everything is black and white to me type of God. You get me? He's not a dictator. Because if the way he guides us is always through our mind, is always through some sort of knowledge coming to you to help you understand how and why things have to be either A or B, otherwise it doesn't make sense, then he is not really a God that then is trying to help you understand morality any other way either. Also, morality will be the same. It's going to be through your mind. So these human beings who go against morality, who are promoting sexism and perversion and extremism and terrorism and taking away human beings like homosexuals, their right to live, and thinking maybe they should be killed, as Islam says. No, they should not. They're just like other sinners. They need to be given time, and they're going to come back. We can pray for them, and God can heal them. You need to kill the predators, those who are actually harming and attacking innocent people, which no human on the face of the earth will be scared of what I just said. You get me? Even though they're not Muslim technically, they don't care. They agree with me. They all believe rapists and murderers and people who make you into a slave or traffic you. Those extreme, right, predators. Everyone agrees that they deserve that penalty. Okay, so no one's going to be scared of what I believe. You get me? Because I'm going against the evil in my religion, and I'm promoting the rational, healthy way that we should punish human beings due to whatever type of evil they do. It depends, right? Some deserve death. Some deserve incarceration or something else. Some, you don't have the right to beat them up. You get me? If someone has a traffic accident, traffic, whatever crime or whatever, you get me? It's not just for someone to beat someone up in jail, you get me, because they did a crime. Because that's sort of like an act of dominance you're giving the law enforcement. They shouldn't have the right to beat people up. We should punish people in other ways, you get me? Because that's really not healthy. But if you... death is more logical. You're not beating the person up. It doesn't really make you feel uncomfortable, correct? Because it's like a quick punishment. Boom, they got killed because they raped someone like that. That's rational. If you want to beat them up, if you want to make them suffer, that's okay. That's not unjust or weird. But I'm talking about situations where it's unjust. To then be like, ooh, the way this person's talking, she seems like she's saying, let's bring down the eye for eye thing. No, you get me? That doesn't mean that I'm promoting the punishments humans in past history used to do, which is also physical abuse. You get me? Like just beating people up. And right now they do ones that are obviously what predators do, but they make law enforcement do it to you, which is stripping you, beating you as you're stripped in jail. Like that. That's perversion. Perversion. That's no different than a rapist. You have no right to take people's clothes off. That's our humanity again, just like a rapist takes people's humanity by taking their clothes off and raping them. You're doing the same thing as a law enforcement, as a jailer, as a government, as a politician, as a president. If you do that to people, you have no right to take people's clothes off. That's a human being, not an object. You have no right to see their body, and you have no right to humiliate them and to act dominant, because that's an act of dominance. You're acting dominant over them. They can obviously stand up and beat you up and stand up for themselves and stop you, correct? You're just like any other criminal. But you're in the law enforcement field. That's not right, obviously acceptable for them to do it. They're going to maybe get 50 years in prison. That's not fair that you punish people for stopping you from doing something to them that if a predator tried to do to them, you would agree they have the right to attack the predator. That's what I'm saying. So God is also against the United States and these non-Muslim countries, and now due to the evil in these Muslim countries, they've abandoned what their Prophet Muhammad came to teach them. What the evil they also do, which is if you put in jail, they strip you. That's perversion. You think a righteous person of God believes you should take people's clothes off? Okay, who likes to take people's clothes off? A pervert. So I'm sorry, whoever came up with these laws are perverted politicians. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. You think they're normal people. I just told you, do it to them. Tell them to come over here and to be put in that jail. Have you seen how crazy they get when these human beings who usually make these laws, they maybe go to jail? They lose their mind. Have you seen the judges? Every day just throwing away 20, 30, 40-year convictions for criminals, sometimes not even giving them the proper time to be investigated. Have you seen sometimes when judges go to jail, how they don't want to leave their chair? They don't want to get up. They're just being dragged. That's what I'm saying. The way you know they don't believe it's normal, do it to them. They'll shut up. We're human beings. Our punishment should always be taking something away from you, like your food, like your money. You get me? You take away someone's freedom, like you incarcerate them. You make them pay money to those that maybe they harass. Like, there you go. They do it already. Lawsuits, right? Okay. That's what I'm saying. Humans kind of have a little bit of what I'm telling you some of the punishments should be, right, for certain things. But no one should ever be stripped. No one should ever be beaten. No one should ever be humiliated. No one should ever have derogatory terms or anything evil or racist or sexist said to them, right? Just because they're an evil human, right? And they did bad things. We don't do evil to evil, correct? Last time I checked, if you're on the righteous side, you're on the side of good or God or morality, then you're just punishing the bad human for what they did. You're not returning evil for evil. You get me? So eye for eye makes it seem like it just means if someone killed someone, then kill them. It seems like what I'm saying. No, you have to be careful with it, because it probably might mean every situation. What are you going to do? Rape for rape? Who's going to rape you? We're talking about people of God here. What the hell is wrong with you people? Understand, you have very dangerous laws in your countries, whether you're Muslim or not. A religion that hates people's bodies being abused. You get me? Obviously, Muslim women cover. Their males are told to do this. That's like that. They don't mix. Oh, but when they go to jail, you strip them? You beat them? I'm telling you, man. It's not hard to prove God's religion is corrupted. Wherever you turn, there's injustice. So his religion in its perfect level or way is not here. Good parts are here from the Bible and good parts are here from the Qur'an. It's that simple. You have to bring both these two books together. Take their good, leave their bad. It's that simple. That's a hard process for humans. God knows that. He knows the evil as hell. He knows the good ones sometimes don't have the full answers to everything, and some don't want to think. Maybe it's too stressful. I also know that too. Some people get really scared of this stuff. They know it's stressful. They know it's hard. They know it takes someone who's really wants to go through the burden of being a leader to do this. That's why God doesn't pick regular people. He knows at some point too they might try to kill you. And obviously good people have always existed. But do they preach for every single morality on the face of the earth? No, they usually had a subject, right? Just one area they were fighting for, a cause. But someone you would say has to talk and deal with all acts of injustice, all acts of immorality, all problems that have nothing to do with morality but just lack, right? Like economic collapse, all these different areas that the species needs to be good in, needs to excel in, that obviously they're not excelling in because they have an enemy. God brings you people who are supernatural, who he personally created. You get me? Even though they're just born to regular people, God can create obviously what he wants. He created them as supernatural people. We don't know if he ever chose women in history, because exactly, these books are corrupted. It hates women, obviously. We don't know if God even chose women to be prophets, but they're just not being told. Correct? Okay, so let's not worry about it. It's not a big deal. But we know, right, prophet, therefore, since they're the supernatural, person I'm giving you as an example, they had to come down and bring down all these solutions. But they didn't really come down to the entire human race. They were sent to a people, obviously. You get me? You can't stretch them, obviously. But now you would agree the world is connected. Because back then, humans, right, obviously were living in, they were living in homes they built from sand and stuff. It wasn't developed. So now it's easy. If God sent you a leader now, isn't it easy? You can just visit every country like presidents visit each other, share a book with them or share laws with them, just talk to human beings, tell them what God wants. Take all the good people and those who want to change and those who want to fight for their rights, who will obviously support them. They work with the human. They just bring down good laws. They just change people's minds. We pray that others repent and they join us. They're going to bring a lot of love and justice and good down, not extremism, more division. And okay, my religion is right. You all should be. None of that stuff. People have the right to not worship God. God give them that free will. He's the one who's going to punish them for that. If they didn't worship him out of intentional desire to not worship him, obviously they're going to go to hell, but that's between them. That doesn't mean we don't warn them, right? We want good for them, obviously. But that's not something you and I can punish them for. That's their right. So you're not supposed to kill people who don't want to worship God. See, that's their humanity again. It's their choice who they submit to, correct? But it's not their choice to go and rape somebody. It's not their choice to go and kill somebody. It's not their choice to steal from somebody. Basically, they don't have the right to do bad to anybody. God doesn't give you the right to do what you want to other people because they're living beings. They're not an object that you can kick around all you want. I hate the stone. Why is the stone always in front of my house? And where do these rocks come from? These birds bring it here. You can kick it all you want. Right? These are living beings, whether they're pests, animals, or humans. You can't do what you want to them. Goodbye. It's not that hard to understand what I'm telling you is from God. I'm trying to give everyone their rights. And I'm taking away the rights that don't exist, that predators like to give themselves. And I'm taking away the term evil and predator from humans that are labeled these terms, who you have no right to call them these terms. Such as a female who wants to abort a child that she cannot raise due to very logical reasons that maybe she's going to lose her life or her health, or it has a disease or deformity that is very difficult to raise a human. You're going to ruin her life, obviously. 24/7, how could she be next to that person who is never going to develop? They're always going to look like that. God didn't create us to look like that. We look great as human beings. So if you're like, okay, but then why did God do that then? If he's giving people the right to abort that type of human, then why create it? Because it's just like when you have a disease. It's just like when you get cancer. He tells you to go treat it. To him, it's just life. It's just suffering. He's making that female suffer by giving her, just like, right, they all suffer if they ever become mothers through the pregnancy being painful. It's not easy, obviously. It's like that type of suffering. It's just life. It's just a test. It's not a big deal. It's like a disease. You get me? It's like a medical procedure that was going well and then God allowed that to go badly and the person died. It's not a big deal. It happens. But he doesn't burden you to raise them. You have the right to abort them. It's that simple. Because he did that to you as a God. That's not normal for such a human to come out who looks like that. Maybe you're scared to hell looking at their face. They don't even look like a person. I swear to God, we're seeing a lot of human beings who have very strange disabilities and deformities. Some are mixed. You get me? And there you go. You agree God would send down a solution. He's obviously teaching human beings how to separate their bodies and stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's that sort of suffering, right? Just like cancer. I mean, humans are still working on this one. Just like any other disease where God teaches you the solution. Okay, so obviously some disabilities, some problems, kids can obviously be trained or they can be healed and they like that. Some of them, obviously, you can have them. It's maybe not even a big deal. And some, it's very unhealthy for that person to raise them. So we don't burden the woman. We say she can abort it. And a man who obviously loves himself, and see, I didn't say her, loves himself. It's gonna be the father too. Loves himself, which that means he loves others, right? So you cannot love others. You cannot think like me if you don't love yourself. I love myself, so I have the right ability to love you and care about your rights as a human being. If a man who loves himself, honors himself, therefore would not want God to put him in that situation, the female is incorrect, so he can empathize. Then, I mean, what's the word? Empathetic. Empathize, right? Okay, would not. Who then, right? Obviously means he loves his wife. All right, if he has a girlfriend, he obviously would not want her to go through that hell. What the hell? That's what love is. Right? Isn't that what love is? We don't want people we love to suffer. Okay. So this is the type of suffering that God created, that he gives us the right to fight and get rid of. He doesn't want us to accept the goodness. God gives us solutions to all the suffering he causes. Hunger, sickness, poverty, whatever. He is always going to give us a solution. Do you agree? Everything I just said, there's a solution. If you are bad at school or at a certain subject, there's a solution. You can train really well. This is the test. Get it? This is the sort of part of life that's difficulty, burden, difficulty. Okay, but evil is not a suffering in that sense. You get me? It's suffering that a person suffers, right? But it's not that suffering, the normal suffering. Evil is not from God. Okay? That's the laws he created being disobeyed. Okay? So rape is not that burden or human suffering that you're supposed to go through. You nasty, filthy weirdos who say this lie. It's not those things. That's a predator. We need to go after him. We need to free her from this filth, this evil that was done to her, and get that out of her body and do everything we can to help her go back to her life as much as she can. Whether she was a student, a wife, a girlfriend, whatever she was, we have to help her go back to whatever he stole from her. It's not possible 100%, duh, but you get me? We have to help her. We all are responsible for her as a society, just so you know. When we leave these people to governments, they abuse them, obviously. One day when it becomes your daughter, your wife, your sister, and if you're obviously a good man, that's when you're going to feel it and be like, what have I been doing so far for women? Right? Because that's what the devil wants. He wants you to think, as human beings, we don't have any reason to care about each other. Everyone's an individual. No, we're not. These two genders come together, correct? As spouses or lovers. Okay. And then they have relationships, other relationships, like being family to each other, right? Being friends, being colleagues. We all are connected. So how can a man not care about women? He connects to her every day. She's his mother. She's his sister. She's his... Why? Only a filthy lunatic demon would therefore come against their rights. Not a man who actually, right, ever loved anyone that was created female by God Almighty. You get me? There's something wrong with him. And the female obviously doesn't know what it is to be human and to love and honor her gender and herself, if she's supporting anything against her rights. So yes, these young females today living in this world where there's no, spiritual leaders from God, right, who can teach you what your rights are. They just hear certain terminologies like, it's a right, Sadly, these young females just say that when you ask them why they're fighting for abortion rights. They don't know how to explain it like I do. That comes from being highly moral. That comes from you observing morality. Okay. So, obviously, you can all develop that if you just see yourself as an honorable. You get me? That you have honor. Unless you're evil, obviously. That you have honor as a human. You have honor. Look at my words. I didn't say you have rights. What does that mean, right? That's too broad. You have honor. Your body is honorable to God. You get me? So they're not going to twist that and be like, ooh, I know how to twist what she just said. Let's just say, the thing that she's saying should be aborted has honor too. God have mercy. Should I say shut up again? Should I say one more time? Oh my God. The living person that moment is the human. They are the ones, therefore, with the honor. It's that simple. Whatever's coming out of them has no rights over them. It doesn't have the right to take over them and their body and their rights and their life. See, I'm giving honor and rights to someone over something that's like an intruder trying to take over her life. That filthy thing males put in a female if they rape her, they're basically using that as a weapon to limit and destroy her life. So it's an enemy to her. You get me? It's actually trying to destroy this person. They were already destroyed by the rape. But they can't just go on like a male. They intentionally put the filth in their body. Why don't they just not do that last part of harming a human? Why do they want to do this? Because it's so that she doesn't ever live for the next whatever amount of years until her death. It's to destroy the rest of her years that she could have at least lived. So you get me? You guys just think that's just what rape is. No, it's not. This is a step that's separate from the actual act of raping the human. This is a step after it. They do it intentionally for a different intention and goal. They are so evil. How dare you put them in jail and let them eat every day and have a nice bed to sleep on? How dare you? If prophets were here, they just give them an option to repent, obviously, if they want. That's their choice, obviously. But they're going to give you the death penalty, and then you're going to go to hell. Close to eternity if God forgave you. If he didn't, eternity. They don't deserve anything. I already get mad at God for even giving them the option to repent. God have mercy. Just shut up every time you want to argue with me. Put yourself in that situation. You're not going to argue with me. The thing about human beings is there's a point where argument is fun for them because they're possessed. Stop arguing with them and just put them in the box. Make them visualize going through that. Okay, but you have to be careful with this. Some of them will say to you they like it, it's good. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Some have reached that level where the demons possessing them are like 99% of the human, and the human is gone. This enemy that obviously hates them, right? The demon hates them. It doesn't get to be affected by anything. It's invisible. It can therefore lie and say what it wants. So don't then think the demons don't care and they like to be raped. No, it doesn't affect them. Get it? They don't have a physical body here. Aish, God have mercy. Just use your mind. That's why they possess humans, to say that these horrible things are actually not a big deal. If it happened to them, they say that you think they're dumb. They've obviously heard people in human history say these things I'm saying to you, right? To put yourself in the shoes of the victim. And the devil was like, what could I possibly say? Oh, let me say that. I don't mind. He thinks that we're all gonna just be broken and shut up, as if we care. Okay, then that means you're filthy. You're stupid as hell and you're nasty. That doesn't mean my point that I was making is false now, because there happens to be a human who doesn't think it's a big deal. What the hell? You're not a human then. I actually don't have to worry about you. I disqualify you from being a human. I don't think that there's humans like you and humans like me. I don't actually act like there's two sides to this. There's no two sides. This is filth. This is violation. This is destruction to everything that a living being is. Therefore, whoever acts like it's not a big deal is not among us anymore. They're over there. They're not a human anymore. We have to take away what they act like they have, which is humanity. They're not human. How dare you? So because now we said to them they're not human, now what does that mean? Exactly. They can't act like they're a different opposing side to us, that therefore we have to sort of, you get me, like fight with and try to get them to agree with us, just like a science project, two groups sort of trying to fight over a debate. We don't have to treat them like that, because this is about evil versus good. We don't have to care what the evil ones are acting like they are, right? Like some other group. There is no other group. Good is good and bad is bad. There's only one right way, therefore, when it comes to things like this, like harming somebody, you know? There's only one way, and that is that it's evil and we're done. There's nothing to talk about. You have no right to do it. You should be punished by. We're not going to treat you like we somehow are scared of you disagreeing with us, as if it matters what you say. Two, You're actually lying for the sake of argument. They're actually lying. They don't believe that. They're lying as a way to fight with the victim's rights. You get me? Because you might be thinking, who do they hate that they fight with this? If it's obviously not good for them either. The victim. They hate the victim. You think they really hate morality in that sense? Because obviously it would benefit them. Do you agree morality benefits evil humans? It gives them rights. Okay, so why do they go after it so much? What? Because they don't see that. They don't see morality. That's why when it comes to them, then they act like they care. You get me? Then they act like it's their right now to have that. There are many females who used to go against abortion, and now they got pregnant at a really old age, and they really had a situation where, right, it wasn't healthy or safe or whatever, and she wanted to abort it, and then she changed her political view. It's like that. Unless it happens to them, they won't leave us alone. You know, or they visualize it. That's what I'm saying. They're lying to us. That's not how God created a human being. To look at something that is a right and go against it. That's not. They're just bad and they're lying. Okay, so the evil ones, they obviously know that and they don't have any reason to hate morality if it gives them rights. Correct? Evil happens to them too. It's just that, get it? This is the one where at that moment, they're demons and they hate the victim that you're advocating for as that lawyer, as that sort of group in society fighting for that victim's right, or that parent. At that moment, it's actually personal. You get me? Because you have to think from a spiritual place. They're demons, right, who raped that female, for example, right, or the male. Maybe he's also advocating for some sort of help or whatever for himself, and they're against it, right? They're telling him to just shut up and move on, like that. The demons who were possessing the male that did the rape, right, are now influencing or maybe directly going and flipping between bodies and possessing now the people in court, the people maybe in society who would make a decision. And now you see what I'm saying? They're just looking at you with the hatred because they made that male rape this person. And they're thinking, no, are you going to get rights? Are you at least going to get something to wake up the next day? Because they want these females to kill themselves. Get it? It's obviously murder they want to do to the female. Instead of shooting her, they go this way. So that, right? Obviously, death is not a big deal. Good people die. You know, God kills us, not evil in that sense. But rape obviously is evil. And they're thinking, let's kill the victim this way. A way that they can never restore from. Correct? You can beat someone up and they'll be fine maybe. They'll forget about it. But rape is a destruction to the honor and the body and the soul and everything that makes you a living being versus an object. It's everything. Every part of you is killed. Your sexuality is killed. Right? You think you're gonna want to have kids now? Goodbye. You know? Goodbye, whoever wants to argue. We're not arguing here. We're speaking against injustice using intelligent, logical points, rationale. We don't debate. Debate implies there's no right way. Okay, so their demons are thinking they cannot let that female have that. Come back to some degree. And right, that male, obviously, he hates her so much, because obviously these males hate women so much that they would want to rape them, that's then what they're thinking. And usually it's that sort of jealousy, because all hatred comes first from envy. He doesn't want her to be happy and have a man that loves her, that she's intimate with, get it? So in his mind, it's actually a way to prevent her from enjoying that sexual part of life, that parental part of life, right? Like you being a parent, but then also the other parts of your life, your humanity, you know, just your humanity, just you're not human anymore. And they also want you to conflict with God because they know the religion is corrupted, right? Their demons know religion is corrupted, and he knows, right, the world, the way it operates is not a way a God would do things. And they're thinking, I'm going to make these human beings in society, including the victim, hate God even more and think he's the one who said a rapist should just be, right, punished with lower punishments, and the victim should have to bear responsibility for the filth he put in her. And she actually has to act like a mother to this filthy, nasty thing. See, the way I see the filth he put in the female if you want to sort of get inside my mind and understand how I think, I see whatever he put in her as actually him. Like him. See? Do you see what I'm saying? Like him. You might be thinking, oh, are you saying that sort of thing that would grow is guilty? No! I don't mean him as in like the guilty, right? Because he did a crime, he's guilty, right? No, I mean it's filthy. It doesn't belong to her. It has no business with her. God have mercy. You just don't know how much I hate perversion, you know? Because and when God makes demons persecute me and bother me, all they do is act perverted. You know? God blinds them and makes them do it to teach me all the things I know today. They're not actually targeting me or anything. Anytime God just takes that power away, inshallah, which is very soon, this stuff is going to stop soon. I'm going to have a normal life. Then they're going to start treating me the way they're supposed to, which is the evil humans in society. They're going to start treating me with the fear that they're supposed to feel towards me, because I'm not a regular human like that. So before that, when they're possessed to just walk around and act crazy and say nasty things, they was just trying to get close to me and stuff. Not because they think I'm someone you can touch. No. They want to accuse me of being a bad person, get it? Because of, look, I have high morality, not even average morality. So it's just what God does to people. He chooses to do anything for his religion like a prophet, even though I'm not a prophet. I'm still doing something similar to them, and I will in the future. Then you're going to be like, oh, I get it. You get me? Because me making this podcast is not really like that, right? But what I'll do in the future, then you're going to be like, oh my God, that's really similar to what a prophet does, that God asked her to do. So she's obviously different. Exactly. That's my point. So for that reason, I have to go through what they went through. A prophet's weak? No, it's what God did to them. God did that to them. He gave the devil power to bother them like that. Every time they died, he accused them of being perverts and sexist. You get me? So I see demons who did that to my prophets. I see these humans who are possessed every day, who don't know you, right? They don't know. It's not personal. Their demons know. You get me? Their demons are bothering you. That's how our world is, guys. A human doesn't need to even look at you and know anything towards it. Their demons can just be like, hey, can I use your body to just bother that person? And they'll agree. It's not what you think it is, right? Like they sort of know the person, a little bit of personal envy towards them and stuff. That's not logical. How do we explain random crime, correct? How do we explain a stranger staring at you? Come on. It can't be someone who saw you a lot of times. It's just, they just need to be envious. Get it? They just need to have envy. Get envy out of your heart. You think it's a little emotion, but it actually leads to all horrible things like the rapist. He's just envious, get it? At some point, he started to get envious of women. I'm not joking. That's why some of them want to be females and become transgender. It's like they're actually jealous of the female gender goodness. They're so twisted in the mind because they're possessed. And then at some point, that envy turns to hatred. Okay. Now he's thinking he doesn't want her to be happy. Get it? Financially, academically, socially, and therefore romantically. Because why doesn't he just steal from her? You know, why doesn't he steal all her money? Why do they always try to rape people, you know? Because he's going after her honor. I don't want you to think it's because he's male. Don't insult God. Has nothing to do with being a male. Has nothing to do with being a female. This is just the gender that has strength. You get me? Female is not gonna have the ability to rape someone. Okay? It's not. No. Okay? It's disgusting and it's not possible. Therefore this gender that evil is gonna come out of them. Females do other ways. They try to abuse children and try to touch them and stuff, like little boys, maybe when they're teachers. But you get what I'm saying. I hope I don't have to explain, obviously. A male is obviously different. So he's the one who's going to try to rape males and females. So it has nothing to do with females. He just wants to take someone's honor away. It's a demon. Get it? That demon, his job is to find as many males in this society, make them hate women. That's the first step. He makes them hate the gender. Okay, and then obviously that means he hates himself. Goodness, because you're connected to women. Hello? Two genders. This entire species came from two genders. We're all connected. We're supposed to love each other. You hate yourself, obviously, if you hate women. You hate your mother, obviously. You hate your sister, obviously. You obviously don't want daughters. You obviously can never love a woman. You're stupid as hell. You're not a person. You lost your humanity. Okay. There we go. The devil created a way for them to survive, despite what I just told you, right? They should be seen as non-human, right? Something dumb and evil. We can help them repent and change. Okay, let's go before they commit a crime. If not, well, they already fell into that. Kill them. You know, instead of that, right? Ugh. The devil found a way to actually make their evil seem like just a unique opinion, you know? He created this sexism nonsense. Everywhere you go, you've seen it. They propose, goodness. They propose so many ways of going after women's rights, you know? They always tell you it's just masculinity. It's just, you're a female, you can't do that. You're this, you can't do. It's always some sneaky way. But those are the exact males that are obviously rapists. Get it? They're the ones who one day will rape someone. And a lot of them are raping people, but they're not being discovered for it. So being sexist, you should already get away from someone who's sexist. It's that simple. There's just good people in this world. Nothing changes them. It doesn't matter what political or religious world they come into. A good person is just a good person. They don't limit you. So, right, before it's too late, God obviously wants us to call them to morality, just like my podcast does. Just like I've obviously done for many people I've met male and female, many times. You know, I've obviously called them to good. I've called them to leave evil. And the evil thoughts would usually say to me, which obviously is from demons, they would say, well, Islam doesn't really promote the morality that you have, that obviously is from God. So what are you going to do? Like that. You would always try to scare me with that. You get me? Because I could teach you purity. I could teach you justice. I could teach you great things. And you would agree with me, if God was good, he'd think like me, right? And not obviously the way Islam or Christianity does in these areas that it promotes weird things and evil, unjust, immoral things. Okay, but then you're thinking, how? You get me? Because obviously God didn't bring down the truth, right? He didn't fix it. You're thinking, how then, right, do you sort of, you get me? Get through that. We are human beings. That's the answer. We are human beings. We're not books. We're not scriptures, okay? We have a mind. We're living. A book is not living. It cannot be a guide. Only God is the guide. He can give us wisdom, knowledge, and guidance from himself, intellect. Consciousness is something he already gave us. It just needs to be used, like, you know, the way you already believe you should use your mind. Otherwise, it's going to go mush and stuff, right? It's not going to work for you. Morality is something you have to use, you know? You have to think. It's already built in you. You already know right from wrong. It's just something when maybe you have to talk to people, or you're trying to just ask yourself what your view is on something. That's when you're going to have to then get into the conscious and think about it. It's not hard. Treat others the way you want to be treated in that situation. Again, not when you're evil, right? Because a rapist obviously would tell you he doesn't want to be killed. No, a normal person. And treat others the way that they want to be treated, that is moral and good. Again, same thing here, right? Because they might want to be treated in a way that's actually bad and abusive. Some people, I've actually seen it, you know. I've done my research. A lot of these human beings who've been victims to extreme abuse and perversion, they grow up actually asking whoever they're trying to be sexual with or whatever, they actually ask that human to not be sexual with them. They ask them to actually rape them. They ask them to beat them. They ask them to do all this filth to them that the abuser did to them. Can you believe that? So if a human being can get so low, so demonic and so disgusting and so evil to themselves that they personally seek out filthy humans of the opposite gender, usually the female's doing this, the male would just do it, right? The way that you would expect he could ask a female to do abuse to him. And they ask that human to harm them. See, again, think about the spiritual. So yeah, as I was saying, if that's some of the human beings we have in this world, then come on. You cannot be like, I don't understand why morality is not something humans just agree on. Because we have weirdos like this. They're the ones getting into our government. They don't tell you that's what they do behind the scene. Because then you'd be like, I'm not listening to you. Get out of my face. Get out of our office. You wouldn't listen to them. They're crazy, obviously. They don't want to tell you. They act like it's just marriage. They act like they're dating. You don't know what they're doing with that weirdo. They're harming each other. They don't want love. They don't want sex. They don't want normalness, okay? We have humans like that, putting on suits and nice dresses as females and suits as males and going into office and creating these laws for us. Well, the evil they do to themselves every day, the rape they do to themselves every day, right? The abuse they do to themselves every day, they want to turn that into laws for everyone. Now you're going to be like, wow, that's more logical then. Because you obviously understand, why would a human do that? Why would they go out creating rules and laws that hurt others if they're just like us, right? They're going to be impacted by it. Exactly. You got it. Good job. They cannot be like us. They cannot have humanity. They cannot think like you and I. Get it? Therefore, they're not human. It's a demon taking over the body and teaching this human to be so filthy, so evil, so nasty that we cannot call them human anymore. Let's just call them something else. Let's call them non-human. You get me? Let's not call them evil. Let's call them non-human. It's over. It's too late. Okay? Obviously, God can save their soul if He wants to. Many have come back from that. But you get the point. This is the power demons can do to them. Okay? They can literally get them to agree to this. So it's not hard to understand why they then become religious preachers as males and promote nonsense. Demons are doing evil to them. God have mercy. Only a good person, therefore that's what I said. Morality means you honor yourself. You love yourself. What do you think is the solution then? If I told you this is what it really means to be a bad human, and the more extreme ones are like this. They obviously love harm to themselves. Something that's not logical and normal. Something you would never think is possible. You just think bad humans go abuse others. You don't know if some humans are seeking abuse. And that's what they promoted, obviously, right? From both genders. In situations you can't understand, like females, right, saying that abortion is bad. Who she herself is going to be impacted by that. What type of dumb lunatic are we looking at here? That's not a human. Get it? We cannot keep giving them the title of human, because that's what they want, in order to then act like there's two sides to the species. You get me? They just think differently than us. Maybe their view is right, and maybe we should shut up. They always act like there's two ways to morality. No, there isn't. We have wicked, evil human beings who the demons possessing them is so extreme. They actually look to be raped themselves. They look to be abused and objectified themselves. It's actually part of their routine. They drink blood. They do weird things. They sacrifice their body. Please, we have weirdos in this world. They're gonna put on a nice suit, put on a nice, you get me? They're gonna be wolf in sheep's clothing. They don't want you to see what the hell they are, and then they're gonna go and get into the government, get into religion, get into law enforcement, get wherever they need to go to promote this nonsense. And some are not maybe promoting it, but they're just going to do it to others. They're that cop that then would try to kill someone. You get me? Some try to rape people, obviously. They try to take advantage of people having handcuffs and stuff. God have mercy. We have to pray for people. Please do it with me every day. Pray. Every day I pray to God that He protects people from rape and these objectifying type of behaviors. This is the worst evil that He created. Obviously, exactly. I told you at the beginning of this episode, use analysis. If you obviously use analysis with this subject now I dived into, I do exactly what you think I would do then. I question God, why did you create this? You could have just created murder, because that doesn't dishonor anybody. We're all going to die, right? Some cool hero, warrior with a sword, killing this horrible enemy trying to invade his country, like that. It's okay if he died, right? After he killed this thing or whatever, maybe. It's not a big deal. You're not dishonored. You know, it's not an act of dominance. You get me? Because you fought. We would say they dominated you if you didn't fight, goodness, right? But if you died, that's just a consequence. It's not dominance. So that's what I'm saying. Why couldn't God just create that as the only way that a body could be harmed? You get me? Something that doesn't dishonor anybody. No one made you dirty or disgusting or destroyed you or anything. You don't feel that way. That's not what happened here. You weren't objectified or anything. Obviously, they try to murder people in weird ways. Ugh. Just told you if you fight, that's not going to be the case. Just die normally. Die in the struggle. They'll die first. But you get the point. It's just death. So that's what I'm saying. Perversion is the problem. I don't have any answer for you. He just did. Our job is to fight it. You know? Just like he allowed the devil to attack us and he's invisible. But he tells us to fight with him. Through prayer, through worshiping God, through being moral, good people. Always standing up for what's right. But it's good to first sit and think and use your mind. Don't just jump. Right? Because sometimes you don't have details about a situation. You might just advocate for something. No, think. Goodness. Come on. I already have faith in you as a human. You know right from wrong. You're never going to be misguided. You could just be misguided on a subject, right? Like a group comes out and says, oh my God, our house was burned. They took this from us. This employer doesn't give us their salary. Things like that you need details, right? You obviously know if an employer did that to them, that is wrong. Okay, so you do have that conscience, that compass. You used it. Just like I said, you have the ability to do. So obviously you're not seeking details to know what's right and wrong here. You're just seeking details to know if their claim is right? If the employer actually did abuse them like that. So these are not situations where we're seeking details, right? It's just right versus wrong. We're not investigating something here. So, oh my God, I don't know how this became a dark episode. I wanted to make you laugh and talk about positive things. And I made myself unhappy now because at the beginning I was really happy. But now look, I reminded myself of the evil I hate most in this world, which is the pervert. And the highest level would be those who harm others, like rapists, molesters. You know? Those who try to touch others, they're all the same. As long as they try to go after the body, they're the same. Or they promote these things. They act like it's not a big deal for someone to touch you or invade your space. You get me? That type of nasty human. You actually tell them someone tried to touch you or bother you, some creep at a job or usually it's at a job, they target people. And they talk to you like it's normal. Like, what did they do? Was it this? Was it sexual? Excuse me. Did you just call perversion sexual? Did you just call this predator what he did to harm somebody, abuse someone, objectify someone, make them feel sick, make them not feel like a human? Something you do from a place of hatred. You hate people so much, you know? How dare you call that sexual? Something people, males and females who are not related, for a healthy age gap, they do out of love. How dare you? The terminology. This is something the devil likes to twist. So obviously some humans can repent and come back from this. They obviously know it's evil. They just became evil, get it? God can save their soul. But some don't. And you have to let them go. Right? Some souls just can't be saved. Whoever wants to be saved, I already told you, it's all about what they want. It doesn't matter how evil they are. As long as they want to change, okay, God's, power is going to work on them. But humans like rapists, murderers, we're not going to try to make them change. We just give them the right to know that they can repent. You get me? That God can forgive them. That doesn't mean he's not going to punish them. You get me? They're still going to go to hell. And they're still going to be punished in this life. Because that's the kind of God we have. A very loving God. So he obviously is very loving to who needs the love? The victim. He's very loving to the victim. And to us as a human race who observed, right? Hearing about this news that poor person over there just got destroyed. We all feel heartbroken if we're humans. If we have a heart. If we're empathetic. If we see her like our own sister. If we see him like our own brother. The way we would go and try to take it into our own hands and kill that rapist. Unless the government, right, makes laws that says that they'll deal with it, right? That's our nature to go kill predators. Come on. If it's our nature to want to kill you, if you touch people we love, come on. What do you think God is going to do if he's obviously better than us? So how dare you mock God? Here we go again with the evil one. Not a normal person, but the evil one, mocking God and acting like Why should he be punished 2 times? Why should he be killed and also go to hell? Again, goodbye. Shut up and goodbye. We're not arguing. We're not arguing. As if it's not obvious how evil this was. As if it's something you don't understand. As if evil is so confusing. You get me? That people have to tell you maybe it's so evil. As if you already don't know how evil it is. Just by hearing what obviously the conduct involves. And you don't always already think like us. You think like us. You're human like us. So you're just lying because you're evil now and you're just like that rapist. Either you can be saved, right, if you haven't harmed anyone. But if you've obviously harmed someone, we just tell you the right you have to repent. But you're going to be killed. We're not going to help you live. As for other human beings who haven't gone down the darkness level yet, they can come back. You know, after some time, after God worked on their hearts, right, their minds, he finds them friends. He finds them a spouse. You get me? But obviously that spouse is going to go through a lot of pain, a lot of fear. You get me? If you were sexist or perverted or crazy before, male or female, whoever God wants to marry you obviously has a lot of fear. You get me? That you're a very disgusting, filthy human. If you changed, okay, good, right? But it's still scary. You're not obviously pure. You're not obviously like someone who could never go down this path. They're scared if you're going to harm people one day. They're scared if their decision to marry you was the worst thing on earth. You get me? It can only be from a place of extreme patience and love that they have to go with God's plan if he's maybe telling them to marry you. You know? It's very hard, just so you know. Because we're human beings. You know, it's just, we're not objects. We think about who you were, what you did. How can we ignore that as if you didn't do that stuff? As if you didn't talk like that? As if you didn't have such hatred? As if you weren't such harm? You know? That's what I'm saying. Evil humans don't respect the amount of greatness that good people have and the amount of greater greatness that God has. You get me? To forgive you and accept you again. To give you a chance. Like, you don't deserve it. It's very hard because you don't deserve it. It's not something small. So if God guided you, he saved your soul, and you used to be this sexist and perverted and crazy, you should prostrate to him every day and thank him. You have nothing to be arrogant about. You came from the worst, dangerous place, the darkest place. God saved you. So live your life doing the same for others. Help others with their morality. You don't have to be filled with wisdom like me. You just need to understand the basic points of morality I share with you. You can understand it, correct? Everything I said on this episode and other episodes. Good is easy to explain. Just share that with others. Be another light in this dark world. Don't just be like, yay, I'm saved. I'm going to go be a good person now. What about the others like you who could be saved? You get me? That person who helped you can't reach everyone. So now you're going to have to continue. Just like school, you know, when we were students, very young. We would all get in a line and pass the food or pass the paper or pass the pen. That first person in line can't reach everyone. Do you agree? You guys in the middle have to reach the ones at the end. And those who've already descended to darkness, predatoriness, they've actually harmed others. You know? It's too late. They can only repent and God can just deal with them as necessary. But if they've harmed someone, well, it's already too late in that sense. You get me? Because we were trying to prevent them from being, obviously, predators. So if they've obviously become predators, you get me? It's too late. Because you're filth. But it's not too late in the sense that God can help them. God can save, because they can repent. And if it's sincere enough and good enough, he can obviously help them, right? And one day they'll get out of hell after their punishment. So that's how they basically work their way to help themselves and save themselves in that way. It's on them. As you can see, I'm kind of struggling with this. I paused a lot of things. I hate this part. I hate the part that God wants to forgive rapists and murderers. Why? You know? The hell? You all think like me. We're a creation. We think alike. You all agree. God have mercy. Why should they come out of hell? You know? Sick and tired of this. So I'm just going to stop this episode before we record for 3 more hours. Be loving. Then you can never descend to such hatred that could harm others at that high level. Be loving like me. Because I'm so loving that's why I'm so aggressive to predators. Okay? It's actually because I'm very loving. That's actually the reason. I love the victim just like if they were my own daughter or son. Okay, come on. I don't think it's hard to understand. Even if you're not a good person, if you just try to visualize what good people think like, if maybe someone tried to harm their children, you already know what we become. So that's how I see everybody, you know? If the rapist then got raped, I feel the same way for them now as that victim. I feel the same anger on their behalf. You get me? I just don't care about them. I don't care about them as a human because they're filth as hell. They should have been killed. But when evil comes to them, well, now I'm against whoever's doing evil to them. You get me? Since you're not evil and you're a person of God, you're not going to be okay with evil being done to evildoers. You get me? Because they're evil and you hate them. Doesn't mean that you're okay with... What the hell? You can only be okay with evil being done to others if you're evil yourself. If you personally think people being raped is funny. You get me? Okay, so since I'm not evil, since that's the most evil thing in the world, since that's when my danger, aggressive sides of me come out, and I have to remember to not take things into my own hands when I see people being abused by these predators. Okay, come on. Then you can understand this is what a person of God or a good person overall or a human who's not evil thinks like. Okay, no one who's good obviously would promote harm being done to predators. You get me? We would just promote punishment, which, right, could involve physical violence. You get me? Like beating them up or killing them. Because that can be something you do from an act of evil or from an act of normalness, right? It's actually normal. It's punishment, such as hellfire means you're obviously going to be burned and your body's going to be destroyed and chopped and you're going to diminish and actually disappear many times. You get me? It's not just fire. There's punishments in the hellfire that are going to involve other things. Study hellfire as Islam explains it, then you'll shut up. So, that's it. But things that are obviously evil would be like rape, you get me? Objectifying the body, harming the body, like that, perversion. Okay, so that's when no one is going to advocate that to happen to a bad human, you get me? Because they bad too. That's disgusting. So I don't want you to just think that people wouldn't advocate for that because it's simply a bad thing to advocate for. No, I want you to understand why someone would not advocate for it. It's because the only way to advocate for it is if you personally think it's okay. Okay, and a good person doesn't think rape is okay. What the hell? They're thinking about themselves. You get me? They're putting themselves in that shoes. They're thinking about other people they love. They're putting them in that shoes. You get me? We honor ourselves. We love ourselves. So then we love others. We can protect others. We can protect their rights and their values. And we can stop the predator who pretends to have rights. You get me? And likes to obviously fight with us when we say he's wrong. He acts like he also has rights and we should honor this and honor that. God have mercy. We got to use our mind so we can separate the liar who likes to make it seem like morality is confusing. No, it's not. You're human. Just put yourself in the shoes of whoever we're talking about. You know? Who's like a victim. You know what to do. You know what side God would be on. He's on the victim side. Okay, take care of yourselves.